It's really windy. I really gotta hear you. I said make some noise if you love this country! Our nation of Canada is more divided than ever before. Establishment politicians like Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh use divide and conquer tactics to pin us up against each other. They are cowards. Legacy media such as the crooked CBC, along with corporate interests, have used identity politics to scare us into compliance with a globalist agenda. This agenda is known as the Great Reset and is led by the World Economic Forum chairman and psychopath Klaus Schwab. This agenda, we must understand, means the dramatic reduction of loss and freedoms, the dramatic reduction of your individual rights and freedoms, which is the basis of a strong nation. A strong Canada means strong communities from coast to coast. Strong communities means strong families, and strong families are made up of you, strong individuals. Now, family looks different to different people. But the reality is that it starts with the core. It starts with you. And that's why it's so important that we all protect our own individual rights and freedoms and not give them up under the Marxist philosophy of giving up your own individual rights for the collective. That is not proper. Your strength as an individual comes from your ability to be yourself while respecting the choices of others. This is why it's so important that we learn and we protect our Bill of Rights as well as our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and do everything that we must do to reestablish these documents as the highest law of the land. Let me remind you of the words of our 13th Prime Minister, Mr. John Diefenbaker. Mr. Diefenbaker said, "I am Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship in my own way, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, or free to choose those who shall govern my country. This heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and all mankind."
Become a member of the Canadian Unity Project by visiting the links in the description.
See, we have to understand that Canada is literally built on the concept of freedom. Let me quote the 7th Prime Minister of Canada, Sir Wilfrid Laurier, who said, "Canada is free and freedom is its nationality." These two gentlemen, both Prime Minister Diefenbaker as well as Prime Minister Laurier, were from different political parties and held different political ideologies, but still they both understood and acknowledged that it is our freedom that defines us as Canadians. Unfortunately, the establishment politicians and parties have long forgotten what this great nation stands for, but we, the people, have not forgot what we stand for and who we are on the global stage, a symbol of freedom and unity. That is what Canada is known for all over the globe. By embodying the 4 principles of individual responsibility, freedom, fairness, and respect, we together will rebuild Canada stronger and better than before. This can be done by forging strong Canadian identity, which creates strong Canadian unity, and speaking against identity politics and special interest groups which promote special treatment for one group over another based on sex, based on race, or based on religious affiliation. When I grew up, that was called discrimination. That is what Justin Trudeau is doing, and the establishment parties, along with the CBC. It's so important that we, the people, defund the CBC. Everybody loves, by the way, when we say that. But I want you to understand principally why that needs to happen. The government and the media should never be in bed together because they hold the checks and balances of society. The government, the media, the judicial system must operate as separate entities. They should never be funding each other and should never be in bed with each other. That slowly erodes our democracy and our way of life, and that's what we are witnessing now. Yes, CTV, Global, they're all owned by, I think there's 4 or 5 companies in the world that own all the major media. 6, thank you, 6. This is why independent media, like Druthers, along with, give a big shout out to Druthers. This is why independent media, podcasts, social media, that's the beauty of social media in this age, is each and every single one of you are now empowered to be the media. We have an opportunity to take the media by storm because every single one of us can be the media. That is the power of social media in this age if it's used correctly. Both the Bill of Rights as well as the Charter of Rights and Freedoms protect you from being discriminated by reason of race, national origin, color, religion, sexual orientation, or identity, as well as medical status. Meaning, our current federal government is in direct violation of these laws. They have been over the last 2 years with their draconian measures, and they are still in violation with these federal mandates. These mandates are a direct violation of our fundamental rights and freedoms. Our government is criminal. And it is our job, every single person here, every single person part of the freedom movement, you don't have to be a politician to know what your rights are. It is up to you as the citizens to know what your rights are and to assert them and exercise them always. Never let anyone coerce you against your own individual rights and freedoms.
I demand accountability.
Along with the need to protect our most important national documents, I propose that we also need to be advocating for immigration reform that is sustainable and does not put pressure on those who are already living within the borders of Canada. Now this is a funny one because you may look at me and be like, I think he's an immigrant. You are correct. Right? I remember when the CBC called me a white supremacist. I was like, have you looked at my picture lately? That was a good one. I am an immigrant. My family came here in 1988 from Brazil. Thank you. And I'm going to tell you my immigration story and why it's so important. And as an immigrant, I speak for immigration reform. First of all, you have to always ask, why do so many people want to come to Canada? Because it's a freaking awesome place to live. That's why my family wanted to come here, for a better life. And we've got that. That's why I'm here today. That's why we're traveling all across Atlantic Canada and all across the country. And we've got multiple projects on the go because I understand and I respect how valuable this country is. Immigrants tend to understand this, actually. I've met tons of immigrants speaking at rallies and going to different events, and how many immigrants are actually on the front lines is amazing, because as an immigrant, I'll tell you, we get it. Because we've come from other countries and other places where these freedoms were not available. These opportunities were not available, and I'm telling you, it just breaks my heart to see Canada erode in this way. In 1987, my family applied to come to Canada, and at that time, Canada had a quota of 100,000 to 150,000 people were allowed in the country, and we were denied entrance in the country. But that's okay, because when you really want something, you work for it. So we really wanted it. So we applied again the next year, and we were able to come to Canada. When my father came to Canada, he had a job lined up. My mother worked for different governments and different businesses over the last, however long we've been here, 1988, someone can do the math, a long time. I was 3 years old. The point is this: we were denied because Canada respected and understood skills-based immigration. They understood that you have to have a sustainable immigration program. So when we got here, we had our plan and we made a life. And my father and my family and my mother and my brother, we've all done well for ourselves. We've worked hard, we've contributed, we've paid our taxes, we got involved. And heck, now I'm part of a political party. Nobody saw that coming, right? Wasn't the plan. But when you see the things when you see this heavy totalitarian government taking away the very thing that your family came here and thrived on, I feel like it is our duty to give back. I feel like it is my duty to give back, to understand and educate people how important it is to have sustainable immigration. And it's not racist, and it's not white supremacist, and it's not any of the bullshit the CBC and Global and the mainstream and legacy media promote it to be. It is just common sense. It is just common sense. When you value something, you don't just give it away. You allow people to work for it, and you continue to improve it. I personally pledge to continue to speak about immigration reform and how important it is. Both Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland have admitted right now that one of the major aspects of the housing crisis we face and the pressure that people are feeling when it comes to the housing market is because we have too many people coming into the country. They've literally said we have more people coming in than we have houses. So instead of doing the responsible thing, which is to then freeze immigration right now until we allow Canadians to get back on their feet, then open up a skills-based 100,000 to 150,000 immigration program, which would be the responsible thing to do. What they do is continue to print more money, which means more taxation on you, harder times on you, and then they promise people that have not paid into our system a better quality of life than our own people, our own veterans, our own seniors are being priced out of the market, and people that are coming here are not contributing and able to gain better qualities of lives. They are also going to create massive project housing and massive ghettos, meaning the safety of our communities are going to be threatened. We see what's happening in Europe. Thank you. We see what's happening in Europe, where there's places that even the police won't go because they tried this experimental mass immigration programs and it does not work.
Look at the U.S.
Yes. The U.S. as well is experiencing this. It is not responsible, and it is a direct violation to Canada. It is a political weapon and tactic to buy votes and secure power, period. That's right. I personally pledge to also to continue to teach our history, to reconnect us to our roots. In our schools, they're no longer teaching our history. They're calling our history racist. They're calling our history negative. That is not true. Why do you think so many people try to get to Canada every year? Because we have always been the beacon of light for the world, for inclusivity, for tolerance, for patience, for kindness. I mean, Canada is known as the peacekeepers of the world, but this rhetoric coming out of Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, and many of the other establishment politicians is a direct ploy, and it comes from an old Marxist theory which they've upgraded today, and now they call it wokeism. And it's bullshit. It's bullshitism. It does not create unity, it creates division, and that's their tactic, divide and conquer. So our plan must be the exact opposite, unite and prosper. Unite and prosper. If you believe in a strong and free Canada, make so much noise that on May 28th they hear us and at the World Economic Forum that we will not honor any world government systems. Any treaty that's signed holds no place in these Canadian borders. We are sovereign from global obligations, and the PPC and myself are the only party saying that we will pull out of the UN, pull out of the Paris Accord. We will not honor global treaties. We are a sovereign nation and must move towards further sovereignty from any old systems. I want to share that tonight Morgan has been so nice. First of all, big round of applause for Morgan May and everything she's done for the freedom movement. Same with Jeremy and everyone here. I know I connected with Morgan online maybe over a year and a half ago, just following each other and everything we've been doing. And she's been kind enough to host an event tonight where I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to be giving a speech called I Am Free, The Path to Sovereignty. And in that speech tonight, I'm going to be speaking about a plan, a grassroots plan outside of the political spectrum. Because I believe we are at war, and war is not won just by one front. It's won by many fronts. So yes, I am involved politically, but I also acknowledge that the PPC is not the solution. It's part of the solution, but the solution is a collective effort of Canadians coming together. So I'm going to be speaking above and beyond politics tonight, if you're interested, and really be speaking about one of the most important vitals of a nation, which is education. And definitely. So please come out tonight. Again, it's called the I Am Free event. You can look it up on Facebook, and please just connect with me after and we can share more. Wokeism and counterculture is the most dangerous pandemic that has come through the borders of our country. It is in our school systems, it is in our universities, and it is meant to destroy the very unity and fabric of our nation. So not only are we currently facing horrible monetary policies, skyrocketing inflation, we are also facing a war of ideology. It is a war of conditioning. It is a war of behavior modification and compliance. It is a war on your freedom of speech, your freedom of worship, your freedom of movement, and your freedom of bodily autonomy. My body, my choice. That was what they ran on, and then they threw it out. My body, my life. Your body, your life. If I didn't create you, then I have no business telling you what you should do with your life and your body. I do not own you. A government does not own you. You are owned by God Himself if you believe that. And if you don't believe it, just say it's nature. I don't care what you call it. You are free, and you are free to disagree with me as well. Because that is respect. Canada, we face the biggest threat to our nation in our history so far. But I want you to know, and I don't want you to feel scared, and I don't want you to feel defeated. You see, I truly believe that Canada's best days are still ahead of us. That's right, bring it on. Bring it on. Here's what I know, and I'm sure if you reflect on your life, you know this from your own personal experience of life. That whenever there's a breakdown, it simply means that God is setting us up for a breakthrough. You see, this had to happen. It had to come to this point so we could wake up, myself included, because I wasn't paying attention until all of these draconian measures was going on, and I thought, is anybody going to speak for me? Is there not one politician that's going to stand up for me? And I realized there wasn't many. There was a few we found. But that's why I'm hopeful. I'm grateful because we have the opportunity to do something great. Let us never forget the opening statement of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which says, Canada is founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law. Nature's law, God's law is not given to you by a government. Nobody gives you your freedoms. You are inherently free because you are a human being of planet Earth. It is not given to you. It is always darkest before dawn, but it is only in the darkness that we can remember the light, that we can evaluate where we are going, that new leaders can emerge, leaders of principle, leaders of strength, and leaders who will stick to their values like you've done, even when it wasn't popular, and they will eventually become the popular values because we, the people, will show them by example that they work. History has shown us that these principles work. Right now, you are part of that history. We are the fastest growing populist libertarian movement, the fastest growing movement of the people and the rise in Canada that has ever happened in our history. And each and every single one of you have a part to play. It is because of you. It is because of your effort. It's because you're willing to hold signs, to come to rallies, to vote, to talk to people, and most importantly, you're willing to organize, and you're willing never to comply with the draconian measures in which they will try to impose on us. It is because we stand here today as free Canadians that we can begin and continue to build momentum to our movement. Take back Canada and make us a free and sovereign nation. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. I'm so blessed to be in Nova Scotia, and we'll see every single one of you tonight. Thank you so much.
Become a member of the Canadian Unity Project by visiting the links in the description.